streaming via YouTube streaming and also via Skype online. Each one of you is welcome to this Sunday morning's live streaming. Love is egoless happening. Love is not energy. It is blossoming of your inner flower. On the dumb bosom of this oblivious globe, although as unknown beings we seem to meet, we are not aliens nor as strangers join. We are bound to each other by a causeless force. We are bound to each other by a causeless force. Once you remember this, your journey moves in a totally different manner. You may be precious, valuable, and for that matter, each one of you is unique, precious, and valuable. Each one of you has something good to give, share. Only you have to recognize this, trust yourself, live to your fullest potential. When you practice exploring your potential slowly and slowly, your potential threshold increases, and one day you start operating at your optimum. Remember one thing, you may be valuable, you may be unique, but people value you according to their own criteria, understanding, and innerness. That should not matter you the least. Let us take an example of a precious stone, diamond. For the fruit seller, vegetable seller, and jeweler, or one dealing in precious metals, the value of diamond will differ. All of them have different criteria. Such is the situation of the people around. You are a diamond, but when you go to a vegetable seller, an ordinary person, he will value you according to his criteria. Trust yourself. You are a living diamond. Trust yourself, you are unique, unparalleled. Just trusting yourself, you will discover your potential and your true essence one day. You will discover your essence one day, and that very moment things starts overflowing. Love is egoless happening. It is an unseen but realized truth. Love is unseen but realized truth. It is the energy which can only be felt. It is the fragrance of the being. It is possible only in the environment when there is egolessness. With ego, love cannot grow, it cannot blossom, its fragrance will not be there. Ego is like a rock and love is the rose flower with tremendous beauty and fragrance. If you put a rock on the rose bush, there is no possibility of it growing or any possibility of rose flower blossoming. Ego is that rock which is put on the flower of love, and then love stops growing. Ego can do everything else. It can make you famous. It can make you a great scholar and a very knowledgeable person as well. It can fulfill all kinds of ambitions for power, prestige and money. But it cannot do one thing which is the most significant in life. Ego cannot do one thing which is most significant in life. It cannot help you to grow in love. It appears so that you are growing in love, but in fact you cannot grow in love. And without love, all else is futile. Without love, you are dead. Love is life, the very secret of life. Love is life force. Love is the food for soul. Just as breathing is essential for the physical body, the nourishment is needed for the physical body, nutrients. Love is the nutrient. Love is the breath for the being, for soul, for ruh, for atma. Love is the food. Love is eternal. Without love, you start shrinking and dying. When I am speaking of love, I am not speaking of love as a relationship, as an energy which you discover deep within you. And there is no significance at all. Without love, why should you live at all? Without overflowing love, life is meaningless. Without love, there is no meaning. One can drag, but dragging is not living. And we all are dragging our lives, not living in fact. One can vegetate, but that is not life. Life is when you are overflowing with dance and song and celebration. One can survive, but one cannot reach the peak of joy, peak of bliss, peak of harmony, peak of his potential. Love opens door to the divine. Love opens the door to the divine. But there is one condition that has to be fulfilled. And what is that condition? Ego has to vanish. Ego has to be. It is not proper to say that ego has to be dropped. How can you drop something which does not exist really, which just appears to you to be existing? You have to recognize this, and in that it vanishes. And it vanishes because it is the false phenomenon. It is man's invention. We are born without ego. Ego is not a natural phenomenon. Instead, it is created by the society, the church, the educational system, and all that you see around us. It is a pseudo-reality. Yet still it is supported from every direction. Parents support it, give you ego. You are taught to be first in everything that you do. And then when this same individual grows and he is competing in his job, in his office, in everywhere, then it is said that you are jealous, all kind of things are said. But this has been infused into you by your parents and the society. Instead of saying that you have to come first, why can't you say that explore your potential to the fullest? And once your potential is explored to the fullest, many things will happen. A kind of a satiation will come. There will not be any jealousy or anything. Each one of you is born without ego. Ego is not natural. It is created by the society, the church, your educational system, your parents. Your parents is part of the society, part of the organized existence around you. It is a pseudo-reality. Yet still it is supported from every direction around you. Parents support it, everybody else supports it as well. As a result, naturally the child starts believing in it. It is a belief or a kind of a auto-hypnosis. Otherwise, there is no ego. When one becomes absolutely silent in meditation, one finds that ego does not exist. It has vanished. It does not exist at all. It has never existed in the first place and from the very beginning. It was just an idea implanted into you by the society. Society needs it because society needs ambition. Society means ambition. Without ego, nobody would be ambitious. Then, where would politics go? Then you would not find any warriors in fight. You will not find any warriors to fight, kill, murder, and be murdered. Where would they find foolish people who have wasted their whole life accumulating money? Nowhere can they find all kind of stupidness if ego is not there. Without ego, you will not find any kind of stupidness. This whole society, the establishment, all depends on the presence of ego. And the work of Buddhas, the work of awakened ones, the work of the masters, the work of sheikhs is to help you to see the non-existence of ego, nafs. Never cling to it or feed it in any way or any more. You have to be cautious that you do not feed the ego of the children. Instead, work with them to explore their potentials. This is all about the master-disciple relationship. He does not feed your ego. I have been a privy to this. Anytime ego is trying to seep from any back door or anything, my uncle, the Sufi master, or my grandmother will slash us immediately. This is all about the master-disciple relation. Stop feeding the ego, and then it dies of its own accord or withers away without a trace behind. And that is the state of humility. Out of that emerges bliss, harmony. Then ecstatic Jesus says, "Blessed are the meek, for theirs is the kingdom of God." Blessed are the meek, for theirs is the kingdom of God. By meek he means the egoless. By meek, Jesus means egolessness. The humble person is not egoless indeed. Ego comes from the back door. You throw it out from the front door, and it always comes in from the back door. And such a person brags about his humility, his humbleness. And you can see in his eyes, on his nose, that ego is there. In his eyes, on the tip of his nose, the bodily gestures, you can see that everything is soaked in ego. Now he wants to be the most humble person in the world. And once again the same competition and the same ambition continues. He is one of the greatest humble person, the most humble person. By meek, Jesus means egoless, not humble. Meek does not mean humble. Meek means egoless, not humble. Remember, egoless is neither an egoistic nor humble. He cannot be an egoistic, and there is no ego. And when there is no ego, he cannot be humble either. It is a different kind of humbleness. It will be an energy around him. It will be his aura. It will surround him like a presence. But the world will not be there. You will experience this as his fragrance. But there is no need for him to say that. Without ego, there is no one to claim that I am humble. As I said, it comes from the back door. You throw ego from the front door. Okay, that's right. Now I'll be practicing to be humble. But it has seeped in from the back door. There is no ego, and when it is not there, you cannot be humble either, because there is ego means someone is there to speak, someone is there to compete, something else. But it is not there, there is no one to claim humility. He simply knows that ego is non-existential. The chapter is closed, and he is living naturally and spontaneously. It does not create any news or the subtle kind of ego. If one can do this simple process of finding that there is no ego at all, then what happens? Love bursts forth as if suddenly spring has come, and the trees, the plants have started blossoming. Birds are chirping and singing the song of ecstasy. Life becomes a celebration. There is no news. It does not create any news or the subtle kind of ego, new or the subtle ego. If you can do this simple process of finding that there is no ego at all, then love bursts forth as if suddenly the season of spring has come. The trees, the plants are blossoming. And when one flower blossoms, It indicates the arrival of the season of joy, season of bliss. It announces the blossoming. All around, the daffodils, the other flowers blossom in plentifulness. Birds sing the glory of the season. Then life becomes a celebration, a dance. And you will sing to the tune. None so vile upon this earth that live. None so vile upon this earth that live. Everyone has something good to give. None so vile upon this earth that live. Everyone has something good to give. Cherish. Celebrate. Life is a benediction. It's a moment that life comes in. Every day sun rises in the morning. Every day sun rises in the morning, and in the evening it sets. In the valley. Certainly it does say something. Certainly does it say something. The early morning, the sky becomes red, the sun is rising. It is that the life breath is coming into you. And by dusk, when it begins to set, hide itself in the valley, it is like breath is going out. All this is the game of a moment. The sun rises to its full glory in a moment. It sets in a moment too. This moment, everything is the game of a moment. This moment alone is life. This moment is life. Decorate, preserve this moment. Decorate, preserve this moment. Life will become an orderliness amidst disorderliness. Something deep within will be in an order. There will be a harmony within. And in that you attain to egolessness. This song, life becomes a song, a dance, a celebration. Only this much for this morning. Until tomorrow, take care and do have a pleasant day.